Today, our group would like to present Halal Assurance System in Food Frozen Company.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad bin Sabani. For introduction of Halal Assurance System. Halal Assurance System is a system for the detection of non-halal pollution and monitoring steps to ensure the halal and processing status of goods and services. The content for MH 2020 required Internal Halal Control System IHCS, which is for small industry and micro, and the second one is Halal Guarantee System, which means HAS for the biggest industry and moderate industry.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Azwan and I'm gonna present about processing flow chart and plan layout. Plan layout, as we can see in the slide, our company has been built 2 layers of wall as an initiative for pest control. The first layer has been colored with red and the second layer has been colored with black, as we can see in the plan layout diagram. We have 3 storage for raw material, which is chiller, freezer, and storage for dry substances. For processing flow design and pattern, we use the L pattern due to small size of premise being used for product processing. For the process flow chart, it is started with the procurement process. After that, the ingredient will be measured and mixed in the mixer to make a dough. Then the dough will through resting process and will be shaped. Next, the dough will be proofed in the proofing machine. After the dough has been proofed sufficiently, it will be fried moderately in the fryer. When the cooking process completed, the donut will be packaged and labeled. Afterward, it will be freeze in the freezer with temperature negative 21 degrees Celsius. And lastly, the frozen donut will be distributed to the retail store, warehouse and restaurant.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Fatih Zulaika binti Zulkifli and I'm going to explain to all of you about Halal Control Point Analysis Worksheet. In my section, I'll be explain about least potential and the rational inclusion exclusion as a potential contamination. Okay, start. First, procurement and process ingredients and raw material. The least potential, the raw material may derive from prohibited or impure, which is shortening. The ingredient may derive from not slaughtered animal and prohibited. The rational is inclusion. Status of the ingredient and raw material may affect the halal status of the end of the product. Second, ingredients measure and preparation. Okay, the least potential ingredient may contaminate due to poor hygiene during handle process. The rational is exclusion. Workers' food hygiene can be controlled with another standard GMP or HACCP. Okay, third is mixing process. The mixing process, equipment and utensils that are used may be contaminated with najis or has been used for processing non-halal product. Rational is exclusion. Equipment have been confirmed clean and pure. First is resting process. The least potential utensil and tools may be used may be contaminated with najis and have been used for non-halal as usual. The rational is exclusion. Utensil and equipment confirmed being used for halal product only. Okay, next is fifth process, shaping process. Shaping process also the least potential is utensil and tools may be contaminated with najis or non-halal being used for non-halal. And the rational is exclusion. Utensil and equipment confirmed being used for halal product only. Okay, number 6 is proofing, pembuktian. Utensil and tools being used. Proofing process need the right temperature. Okay, in this proofing process need the right temperature, right time. The wrong temperature may lead to low quality of dough. Okay, the exclusion, the rational is exclusion. Utensil equipment confirmed being used for halal product only. Number 7, frying moderately. Utensil and tools being used may be contaminated with najis or non-halal using before. The rational is exclusion. Utensil equipment confirmed being used for halal product. Packaging and labeling. Okay, number 8 is packaging and labeling. Source of packaging material may be effect product halal status, location for packaging process may be carried out at an unhygienic and unclean place. Okay, labeling material use may be hazardous. The design of the packaging may be misleading lah. Okay, the rational is inclusion. Halal status may be affected due to prohibited hazardous packaging material. Number 9 is freezing and storage, and number 10 is distribution process. Freezing and storage product may be contaminated with najis. Distribution process pula, final product may contaminate during the transportation process, logistics service providers. Okay, the rationale of freezing process is freezing storage inclusion. Najis may contaminate the final product. And distribution process, the inclusion usage of same lorry and truck for halal and non-halal may lead to cross contamination, and same goes for freezer dried food. Thank you.
Now we move to control measure. They have 10 HCP that had been figured out. For HCP1, procurement, process, ingredient, and raw material. The control measure is supply raw material and ingredients from halal certified supplier. Make an audit for the supplier to ensure their compliance with halal regulation and requirement. Now, second HCP is ingredient measure. Second HCP is ingredient measurement and preparation. The control measure for second HCP is implement food safety program and premises. For third HCP, which is a mixing process, buy new equipment and utensil. If a second-hand equipment utensil, we should ensure that it is used for processed halal product and does not contain the non-halal product. It being used for if it being used for non-halal product, then conduct SERTU for equipment. Implement food safety program for the premises, monitoring staff hygiene and practice. Fourth HCP is resting process. There is no control measure needed. 5 HCP shaping process, no control measure needed. For 6 HCP is proving. Proving is used to specify machine for proving process, clean the machine regularly so it will not cause any contamination. 7 HCP is frying moderate. 7 HCP is frying moderately, which is there's no need control measure. 8 HCP is packaging and labeling. For packaging and labeling, they have designed packaging properly without any sensitive matter that could be mislead. Clean and sanitize packaging process location regularly in monthly. 9 HCP is freezing and storage. Control measure for freezing and storage is clean storage monthly, freezer temperature control, and set 22 degrees Celsius to avoid sudden drop if any unwanted event happen. Apply proper pest control system for the freezer. The last HCP is disruption process. Find an LSP that has halal certified, inspect and audit the LSP for compliance on halal principles.
For halal risk management plan, the HCP number 1 is procurement process. For what is halal status and condition of raw material, how is ensured that the selected raw materials have certification from a recognized body by JAKIM, frequency, each time the process of identification and purchase, who, halal executive or R&D purchaser or procurement. Okay, for HCP number 2, packaging and labeling. What information for labeling product and packaging area? How to ensure that each packaging is made in the designated place and has complete information following the regulation. Frequency, each batch of products, packaging and labeling. Who, quality control or quality assurance. For HCP3, freezing and storage. What is to monitor and check the storage condition. How, ensure the right temperature and proper storage method to avoid cross-contamination. The frequency is each batch of storage, and who to monitor this is Halal executive or quality control. And lastly, HCP4 is distribution process. What to monitoring is mixing with the haram element. How is to ensure through the proper handling and monitoring well to ensure not contaminate with haram elements. Frequency, every time the distribution process. Who monitor this HCP process is Halal executive.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Umi Shabika binti Jailani. Continue with corrective action. HCP number 1 is procurement process. The corrective action is replace the supplier that has been recognized by JAKIM Halal certifications. Next, replace a new procurement officer. HCP number 2 is packaging and labeling. The corrective action is ensure the process is monitored by quality control. HCP number 3, freezing and storage. The corrective action must provide control mechanism action. Lastly, HCP number 4, distribution process. The corrective action is do a lab analysis for every batch products. Second, serve to all the machine process and do a food recall for that batch product. That's only for our group. Thank you.